So our speaker is here. He joined right on time. Hi, Oluwa Koreda Asuni. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm good. It's nice to have you join us. Okay. Yeah, a beautiful morning to everyone who's joined us. Thank you for being a part of this session, and thank you to Mr. Asuni. Mr. Asuni has been a big supporter of Tech Skills Hack since from inception. He's been very supportive, and it's a pleasure to have him join us today, all the way from South Africa. So good morning, Mr. Suni. It's nice to have you join us. So before we start, let me introduce Mr. Suni. Oluwa Korede Asuni, that's his full name. He's the business analysis lead for MTN South Africa, where he supports executives and key decision makers in expanding and growing the business. He's also a member of the non-executive board of IIBA South African chapter. His interest spans stakeholder theory of business, new business models for businesses, ethics of information system, and gamification. So if you're more into product design, you get to understand what gamification is. So today we're very, very happy to have Mr. Asuni join us today. Hello, Mr. Asuni, please can you get this session started? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. It fills me with a lot of pleasure to be here today. And I hope the time we'll spend together will turn out to be time well spent on both sides of the table. If you can hear me and you can hear me clearly, could you please type something, maybe type yes in the chat, just so I get a sense that people did not just join the call and go on with their Saturday mornings, but they are really participating in the class this morning. So please go to the chat and type yes if you can hear me and if you can see me. Good. So I've got two screens. So occasionally it will look as if I'm not looking at you. Just forgive me. I'm probably looking at the second screen in that time, but I'll do my best to keep my face on this screen, which has the camera. Cool. People can hear. That's fine. 14 chats, 18 people in the room. That's awesome. May I share my screen?
Okay, let me give you the hosting rights. Let me do that.
Okay.
So that you can. Yeah, so that you can do that.
So whilst my rights to host it's been sorted out, can I get a sense of what we know about product management? Can you just type a sentence or two in the chat, saying, no, there are no wrong answers, right? Just tell me what you think product management means, or product management is. Quick, I would read. Again, there are no right or wrong answers. It's just to help me gauge what's going on in the audience and to also be able to provide or tailor the conversation this morning in a way that it meets your needs. So people are quiet.
Okay, can I answer that? So from my knowledge about product management, yes,
I would take your answer, but I also want answers from the audience. It's
so you so you can unmute yourself and answer the question if you have a knowledge about product management.
Yes. So they can type it.
Yeah, or you can type it. So for me, product manage. Okay, let me what a product manager is, or the job of a product manager. So the product manager to me is like the middleman who intercedes for the organization and also the users of an organization product or services. So he tries to make the users happy and also tries to bring a balance and to also make the organization happy too. So he works with the business section of the organization, works with the UI, UX, the design section, and also works with the design, with the developers of a product. So he has an understanding of every section, the finance, that's the business part of it, the design part of the business, that's the UI, UX, and then the development of that product, being that he intercedes for the users and also intercedes for the company. So he brings a balance between the users and the company. So his job is to make the users happy and also make the organization happy too. So that's my understanding of who a product manager is.
All right, thank you very much, Ini. Very well said. There are 13 people in the waiting room. I'm just letting them in.
Okay, okay.
Is there somebody else who wants to go, either who wants to type or who wants to say something? Hello? Okay, in that case, are there particular questions that you want answered here today? So I understand you don't want to say something, you don't want to tell us what you know about product management, it's okay. But do you have particular questions you would like to see answered today? In which case, I would like you to put those questions in the chat. Thank you, Edet, Anima Edet. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong.
Anima Edet.
Yes. A product manager works with the company from product development to rollout. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. My screen is frozen. Give me a second to resolve that.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please tell us your name and go for
it. Yes, my name is Esther. The brief understanding that I have of product management is a product manager is someone who identifies a customer's needs and works with a team to actually
Go on, Esther. Am I still connected, guys?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think her network is bad.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry to hear.
Okay, so we have a definition from Sheung.
Yeah, what was Sheung say?
Okay.
Okay, Esther. Okay, welcome back.
Okay, so sorry. I think the network is quite bad.
Okay, sorry about that.
All right, Esther, do you want to finish your thoughts?
Oh, you can type it out if you're having network issues. Sorry about that.
Okay, we'll come back to Esther later. I understand Sheung has said something. I am going to look for Sheung now. Give me a second. And let me know, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, cool. So
yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. All right, thank you. What do you see? The presentation on my email.
They said no. This okay, we can see your screen right now. Yeah, we can see the
What do you
presentation.
see? Do you see my email or do you see my presentation?
Your presentation.
Okay, that's cool. I'm happy. So I can't read the charts, guys. So Ini, maybe you would read the chart for me.
Okay, this is what okay, Okay, we have a lot of definition. We have like 2 definitions here.
Okay.
Okay, so Enema edits, a product manager works with a company from product development to rollout.
Yeah.
He works on the strategies needed for the success of the product.
Yeah.
Then Aisha Jimo said, a product management to me is someone. Okay, I think she wanted to say product manager. Sorry, I think this thing went. Sorry, the screen is acting up here.
Okay, just continue. Let's close this definition questions. Just continue.
Okay. Okay, so Aisha Jimo said, okay, I thought she wanted to say product manager. Okay, she wrote project management to me, someone. So let me say product manager to me is someone who manages, coordinates those involved in bringing a product to life. Is that from start to finish within a given period of time. She's trying to say that a product manager is someone who manages and coordinates those involved in bringing a product to life. And the product manager starts this from, oh God, the screen is really messing up. So the interface is messing up right there.
Sorry.
Yeah, so, okay, this is what Sheryl said. A product manager deals with new product development, forecasting, pricing, product launch, and marketing. It is an endless continuum, actually. Okay, that's what Sheryl said.
Okay.
Hi, Sheryl. I've read your comments, and it's very useful too. It's okay. So I think those are the definitions we have in the chat box.
Okay. Sorry guys, I'm having a bit of a difficulty with my screen share. I'm going to crave your indulgence in resolving that. Give me a second. Give me a second. You should be able to see the presentation once again.
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right, guys. So to be quite candid, I think we don't need this session given the amount of knowledge in the room. You are quite adept at the definitions you've provided. You're quite adept, or shows that you're quite adept on the subject of product management. But for the sake of observing protocol, I'll start from the beginning. My name is Oluwako Rediasuli. Like Imi has rightly mentioned, I work for MTN in South Africa. I lead business analysis work for the mobile money business. I'm aware we have mobile money in Nigeria too. And there's someone who is my equivalent in Nigeria as well, doing a similar piece of work. And I've got a slant for product management. So you understand much later why it's a slant and not a formal responsibility. Background, I'm going to skip background. Background talks about me. Intersection of technologies. I'm going to skip that. I think Ini has done a good job of introducing me. Ini would find a way of getting this across to you. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about product management, business analysis, DevOps, and all sorts of things. May I kindly ask that everybody puts their microphone on mute, please? Somebody's chewing.
Yeah.
And I understand. I agree. I also have a mug here with my favorite drink in it, coffee. So I understand that, but I would like that we respect each other and not distract. Yeah. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. On Facebook, I play. Don't take whatever I say on Facebook too seriously. On LinkedIn, I'm a bit more serious. On Twitter, I tweet whatever people do on Twitter, and I maintain a personal website which serves as my digital home. So I endeavor to keep the website as up to date as possible. It's got my contact information. If you want to book time for me to discuss a subject or a topic with you, or you want me to have a review of your career plans, objectives, and all that, you want insights and all of that, you do that voluntarily in my own time. In my own time means that whenever I am available. So I've got a public calendar. You can see it and you can book time with me based on my availability. All of that's on my website. I'll send this to Amy. I think she already has them and she can share them with you so you can stay in touch. So now we get to the crux of the matter. Why are we here today? We are here to discuss product management as a career path and the things we need to do in order to get started. So who are product managers? Right? So product managers are very important people in business. You see, for a long time, that role was not recognized. But in the early 1900s, Procter & Gamble, I'm sure you all know Procter & Gamble, they make a lot of household things, soaps and what have you. Procter & Gamble created or invented product management, but without calling it that. What they used to call the role then was brand men. And we have to forgive the guys at Procter & Gamble for calling it brand men, because we know that it should have been brand men and women and others as the world demands today. But they were called brand men those days because it was just, there were more men in the workplace than women. Women started to go to work, I think, en masse following World War I, where most of the men were out fighting wars, and there was a lot of need for people to work in the factories to make arms and ammunition and all that. But that's a conversation for a different day. So they were called brand men, and their responsibility was to look after each brand in the basket of Procter & Gamble. So Procter & Gamble make household goods, and they make a ton of them. There are some focused at children, there are some focused at women, there are some focused at men, and there are some focused at the kitchen and all of that. So rather than nobody owning these individual products, rather than everybody in the business and essentially nobody owning these individual products, Procter & Gamble created brand men and assigned each product or each brand to an individual. The individual then has an end-to-end responsibility to ensure that that brand succeeds. So from design and development of what that brand represents or will do, to selling to the customer, to supporting the customer, and to understanding what else, in addition to what that brand or product currently does the customer need? And then coming back to design and designing that into either the existing product or creating a new product. So far, am I making sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
So, product managers sit in the middle of the business vision and the customer's happiness. That's my favorite definition for product managers or product management. It's the intersection of customer happiness and business vision. So every business that is created out there, every business starts with a vision, what they want to see done, what they want to achieve. And then that devolves into strategies. How do we then achieve this? And then that devolves into tactics. What are the daily activities and actions we need to complete in order to actualize our strategy, in order to actualize our vision? So, and then in all of this, there are assumptions. We assume that our vision matters to the world, but we wouldn't know until we begin to test that vision with customers or with the world as a whole. The product manager would have to embody that vision, live that vision, breathe that vision, sleep that vision. And in doing that, they also need to understand what the customer needs. And then they look for the intersection of both. So whatever the customer needs that doesn't align with their vision, they mostly would have to ignore. And whatever part of the vision that doesn't align with the customer needs, they have to ignore. Otherwise, they run the risk of wasting organizational resources on what the customer doesn't really need or what doesn't really tie back into the organization's vision. So it's a lot of thinking and working to ensure that that intersection is well maintained. And sometimes it is the product manager's responsibility to expand that intersection. And there are a lot of ways the product manager will do that. But key to achieving any measure of success in this area is that the product manager needs to understand the customers to a T, and they also need to understand what the business vision is. In some instances, the product manager might also be able to persuade the organization, depending on where the product manager sits in the hierarchy, might be able to convince the business to expand its vision to accommodate more customer needs. And the product manager might also be able to, in some instances, not all the time, but in some instances, might also be able to persuade customers to look at their problems in other ways. And I'll give you an example of where a product manager or a product management team has convinced customers to look at things in a different way. Before the motor car was invented, human beings rode in horse-drawn carriages. The product manager for the first motor vehicle, Mr. Ford, convinced customers to look at the problem of mobility in a way that is different from how they were seeing it at that point in time. And he succeeded. If he hadn't succeeded, we would only be reading about motor cars today. We would not see them, we will not drive them. Today, every city in the world is built around motor vehicles. So you find that there are highways connecting different nerve centers in the cities together, and so on and so forth. So in that case, Mr. Ford was successful in convincing the customers that they need motor vehicles. And there's a saying attributed to him that if you had asked human beings at the time that what do they need, they would have asked for a faster horse or a more efficient carriage. But he had a vision that we can create self-propelled vehicles that does not poop, whatever horses poop, but that is self-propelled and that is a lot more efficient, and that, in a manner of speaking, could introduce a lot of convenience into our lives. Sorry about my neighbor's dog that is barking. Let's give him a second or two to finish his business. All right. So another example of a product or a product manager that convinced people that their needs are slightly different from what they think it is the iPhone. Before 2007, for those of you who are my age, we had smartphones. We had funny Nokia phones, that Nokia branded smartphones, and we all thought they were smartphones until Apple introduced the iPhone. Today, every device in that market looks like an iPhone, because if it doesn't look like an iPhone, the customer thinks it doesn't meet its need. So that goes to explain some of the tricks, or some of the how tricky sometimes, or the influences, let me put it that way, that a credible product manager and its product can have on the customer. But for the vast majority of times, the customer demands or determines what a product does and what the product looks like. And it's easy for them to do that. They put their money where their mouth is. They buy products and services that meet their needs. And where there is none in the market, the customer would complain. They would do word of mouth complaints. They would tell INI that that product is terrible. And all of that, I'm just paying for it for now. As soon as there's a better product, I'm going to buy it. So product managers who are out there, who are listening, who are reading tweets and all of that, are paying attention to what customers are saying. And sometimes they might even bring in the customers and have focused group conversations with them to further understand what they are really saying and see if their product vision can be expanded to accommodate this additional customer needs. Am I still making sense?
Yes, you are. You're making sense.
All right,
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, yes.
So let's look at some formal definitions.
Yes, sir, you're making sense.
Okay, thank you guys. Thank you very much. So let's look at some formal definitions. A product manager is the person who identifies the customer's needs and the larger business objectives that a product or feature will fulfill, articulates this, and decides or determines what success would look like for a product, and rallies a team to turn that vision into reality. And that definition is courtesy of our friends in Atlassian. And a product, I'm sure we all know what a product is, and even if we didn't, from my discussions around what the product manager does, we probably have picked that up. A product is a purchasable, downloadable, or freely attainable entity, be it something physical, downloadable, or accessible in one form or the other that delivers value. So whatever you are doing, if it doesn't have, and if it doesn't deliver a value to a customer, it's not really a product. Maybe it's a problem, you know, or it's something else. But for anything to qualify as a product, it must deliver value. Another thing I need to point out is that in high school economics and probably economics 101, we always talk about products and services. But you see today, both have morphed into products because the lines separating products and services has become blurred. In the olden days, you would have to go to a shop and buy a DVD for Microsoft Office, and then you can claim that that is a product. But today, Microsoft Office is a service. You sign up for Office 365, and for as long as your license is valid, you have access to use the Office 365 suite of services. So the lines between product and services is blurring seriously. So for the sake of this conversation, and for the sake of all future conversations between me and yourselves on the subject of products and services, we will just refer to everything as products. And a product is a waste of time if it does not have market fit, if it doesn't fit in the lives of the customer or the consumers in one way or the other. And how do you know if a product fits in the life of a customer in one way or the other? The customer buys that product or uses that product if it's a free product. So it's super important that okay, let me quickly go over the definition. The highly desirable stage when everything clicks into place. I like to call that the nirvana. Your product is being happily taken up by your market, your customers, at a price point that works for them and that is profitable to you. Your customers are not, they don't keep coming back to ask for discounts and all that. And even where one or two of them are asking for discounts, the majority of the others feel that the product is appropriately priced and they are paying that much for the product. And at this stage, you have your ducks all in a row and you are doubling down to grow. And this is according to the product school. Are there any questions on what a product manager is and on those formal definitions? Okay, I'm going to assume there are none. So now there are different types of product managers and there are different hierarchies. I will go over them quickly. The hierarchies, sorry, my computer is frozen again. I've got 11 people in the waiting room. Let me see if I can admit them. Or Ini, can you reclaim host and manage the audience? If you don't mind, so I can focus on the presentation. In your bomb. Okay, let me attempt to let people in and then I'll come
Hello.
back to you.
Hello.
Yeah, I was saying that can you reclaim host rights and manage people who are coming in? There are 11 people in the waiting room.
Okay, so the issue now is that if I reclaim host and try managing, you won't be able to share your screen again.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Let me try and let people in. Zoom controls. Admit all. Okay. All right. Are you guys still able to see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Cool. So there are hierarchies to this thing. So for the most part, you're going to start as a pure product manager. Sometimes in some organizations, they will refer to you as an associate product manager. In some organizations, they will just call you product manager. But here, your responsibility would be to shadow a more senior product manager or to manage one feature or the other on a product. So let's say you're a product manager for Google. In the beginning, you might just be responsible for managing the login page. You know, there is somebody or a team managing the login page on Google, introducing new features and all that. That could be your responsibility. And as you cut your teeth and you earn your stripes, you might transit into becoming something called a senior or a group product manager. With a senior product manager or a group product manager, you are now overseeing a group of features or an entire product or a product suite. You are responsible from end to end for Gmail in this case. So you're not just looking after the login page, but you're responsible for all of Gmail and Google Calendar. So the product manager responsible for the login screen, the product manager responsible for Gmail, the product manager responsible for Calendar would all now report into you. And then you then have, that's a repetition, apologies for that. You then have the executive product manager. The executive product manager is perhaps the most senior product manager in the business. And sometimes this executive product manager sits in the C-suite. In some organizations, everybody in the C-suite, except for maybe the CFO, are responsible for a part of the product offering that the business offers or the other. And though currently majority of them do not have that title, executive product manager, but their responsibility is that of an executive overseeing a suite of products, sometimes an entire platform. And people are theorizing that we will begin to see executives whose responsibilities are primarily to products and nothing else in the business. I'm waiting for that day to come because I also want my career to progress, and I would like to sit in the C-suite looking after products. And then we have different types of product managers. We have the technical product manager. Again, I have applied a layer of abstraction myself, but you find different layers of abstraction being applied by different organizations. So this is not a silver bullet, and is not universal. So you find that in different organizations, they probably would have different types of product managers or different levels of product managers. So, but this is as generic as it can truly get. So you have a technical product manager. Technical product managers usually sit in the technical area of the business, overseeing the engineering team. Sometimes the technical product manager also oversees technical products. So if you think about AWS, for example, which is wholly a technical product from end to end, each product there would have a technical product manager looking after it. So there's somebody looking after S3 storage, for example, or the code storage, for example, or looking after Amazon's mass email engine. So all of those product managers are technical in nature. Some of them, if you interface with them as a customer, you might not really understand what they're talking about because they are steeped in technical language and in technicalities. And then you have general product managers. I'm a general product manager, and I have the benefit, of being able to speak to the engineers and being able to speak to customers on the one hand, and then being able to speak to executives and ensure that I rally all three core key stakeholders in ensuring that my product meets everybody's needs. To the customer, it delivers satisfaction. To the engineers, they are building what we need them to build, and to my employers, it is contributing to the bottom line. And then you have growth product managers. So growth product managers help or are saddled not with a product, but with increasing or improving on a product metric or an organizational metric. So when an organization is in growth phase, so they've created a product, they've introduced it to the market, they can sense that as product market fit. A good product manager's role in that instance might be to lower the cost of customer acquisition. Or it could be that to increase customer lifetime value, or to increase, let me see what other metric is important during good phase, increase customer adoption. So there are 20 people today who are actively using your product, but 50 of them have signed up. You want to increase your monthly or your daily active users. That would be the responsibility of the growth product manager. I see we are running out of time, so I'm going to run through the rest of this presentation. So I believe we've adequately addressed what product managers do. I've got 2 slides. This is the ugly one. I'll show you the pretty one now, and I'll quickly go over what product managers do. So they set product vision. And the product vision is never set in isolation. You cannot set a product vision in isolation. You ensure that your product vision is in full alignment with the organizational vision. Otherwise, you might be planning to make the customer happy, but you're going to end up making your business or your company broke. And once the company is broke, they can no longer keep up with keeping the customer happy, and you're going to be in trouble. So it's important that when you're setting your product vision, you set it in alignment with the organizational vision and strategy. We discussed that earlier. They also understand the customer needs and identifies opportunities for actualizing the product vision. And then they drive product development, product design and development. They work with designers in the team. They work with engineers in the team. They work with the marketing team and all support staff to ensure that the product that is being crafted meets the customer's needs and the customer in a way that the customer's challenges or problems are solved. And even after the product has left the factory, in a manner of speaking, the product manager supports the customer. So sometimes it might not be their day job to take customer support calls, but it is part of their day job to ensure that the core issues that are being raised in the bug reports or in calls to the customer support center adequately gets attended to. Sometimes this, in supporting the customer, we begin to pick up new problems that or new ways that customers want to use our product, and we can go back and build those capabilities into the product and charge the customer more. So we are increasing, that's another way we can increase the customer's demand for our product and also increase our own capabilities or capacities to meet these needs. So to the crux of the matter. So yeah, what are the skills you need to be a good product manager? There are a ton of skills, but I've identified these 5. You need to have a problem-solving mindset. You know, you find that in interacting with customers and all of that, you find that customers, you know, people call customers all kinds of names. They don't know what they want until they see it. They don't know. Some people say customers are stupid and all of that. I disagree, and you find that if you don't disagree that customers are dumb and stupid, if you think they are dumb and stupid, you will miss out on opportunities to serve them. So rather, try and understand what they keep asking you for. And if they are attempting to use your product in ways other than you want them to use it, again, like I said earlier, it might be an opportunity for you to build additional capabilities or features into your product and make more money. And or an opportunity for you to educate the customer so the customer knows what the real need for your product is. But you wouldn't be able to do this if your position or your mindset is that the customer is stupid. I've met a ton of product managers who believe that the customers are stupid. I will not lie to you, I've been in that situation in the past as well, but not anymore. And you need to be creative. It is super important that you come to every problem with an open mind, but you also come with a view to solving problems and to doing so creatively. So if you insist that there are hard boundaries to solving a problem, and you're not going to go outside of those boundaries, you might end up annihilating your customers and destroying your product. So you need to continuously find new ways to creatively address the challenges that your customers bring to the table, or find creative ways of doing a lot more with a lot less. So an example would be that today your product requires 30 servers to serve your 3,000 customers. As a product manager working with the engineering team, you need to find creative ways of reducing the number of servers that are serving the same number of customers. That way you are saving costs while still making as much money as you were making before. And when you reduce costs that way, and you are not impacting on your revenue, profit goes on. As a product manager, you need facilitation skills. An example of facilitation skill is what I'm doing this morning. Of course, the audience too will talk when you are facilitating. So this is a one-sided facilitation. Don't be like me. So in real life, you will need to engage with customers, understand their needs, interact with them, facilitate. And where you see that there are things that the customer is talking about that you are not best positioned to take back to the marketing guys or to the engineering guys or to the executives, you create an avenue. That goes back to creativity. You create an avenue to help your customers and your key stakeholders in the business meet eye to eye and have conversations. In that process, you just remain a facilitator. You pretend like you don't have the horse in the race. Of course, you have two horses in the race. The customer demand and the organizational demand are your two horses in the race. And you don't want to annihilate any of the stakeholder group. So all you do in that case is facilitate. You cannot be a successful product manager if you cannot research. So for example, I work in fintech. I know all the fintech companies in South Africa, and I know what they uniquely bring to the market. So if my employers want to buy a fintech company, if my employers want to expand, I can provide guidance on whether we should spend time and energy building that new feature, or if we should buy a business that is already doing it. And that is resident in me because I've spent time to research. And research is not something you do and you stop doing. It's something you do every day. You have to be on top of your game. You need to know what's going on. When a new company or a new competitor enters your space, you need to know. When, not just even in your space, in industries that are adjacent to your space, you need to know what's going on there and all of that. Now, the depth of your knowledge might vary based on what you need to read, what your core organizational goals are, and what your role in the organization is. So it might vary, but it is a no-no that you do not research. So you are going to fail as a product manager if you don't have the patience for reading and understanding what is going on and asking questions that helps you clarify or better understand what's going on out there. And you need to be an excellent communicator. I don't think being an excellent communicator is a destination. I think it's a journey. You keep learning. Different stakeholders have different communication needs. You need to understand their communication needs, and you need to provide them the necessary support to ensure that their communication needs is always attended to or met. So it's super important. So those are some of the skills that you need to have. Right on top of my head, there are additional skills that I can tell you need to also have. You need to be comfortable with numbers. You cannot be a product manager. You cannot succeed as a product manager without being comfortable with numbers. For example, you need to know how much is going into your product and how much your product is making. If you don't know that, you're going to get into trouble. You will keep either underselling your product or overselling your product, or spending too much to build that product and making very little in return. So it's super important. You need to know the size of your market, right? So having numeracy skills doesn't mean that you need to be able to do differential mathematics and all that. No, but you need to read. You need to be able to read a chart and understand what it is saying, and you need to also be able to put that together in your communication to say, look, our competition. This is the size of the market. It's $4 billion. Our competition has captured 10% of that market, and they are profitable. So if we are able to capture another 10% of the market, we won't put them under pressure so they won't come after us. So if we can capture 10% of the market, we might also get to profitability. Or you need to be able to draw conclusions like our competitor is making as much money as we are making. But last year, they declared a profit to their shareholders, but we couldn't. What are they doing differently? But if you can't read the numbers, you wouldn't be able to dig below the events that is making up the numbers, and you won't be able to adjust. So it's super, 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 super important that we have numeracy skills, and so on and so forth. So let's quickly discuss the paths to becoming a product manager. So like I said earlier, in most of Africa, you find that there are, for established businesses in most of Africa, there are no product managers. People with that responsibility have other titles. So things like head of business development associates, you get here project manager, but sometimes they're saddled with product responsibilities, business analyst, product owner for businesses that are running agile, and so on and so forth. So there really isn't a clear path to formally becoming a product manager, especially because in most organizations here in Africa, there are no product manager roles. But among startups in Africa, you'll find that there are dedicated roles or positions for product management. In fact, most startups are single product startups, and the chief executive is the chief product manager, and then he has subordinates who look after different features of the product, and they go by the title product managers. And this is as a result of the influence of Silicon Valley on the startup culture in Africa. So every startup in Africa wants to become a Google, a Stripe, or a Microsoft, and for good reasons. So, and these are organizations that actually understand the need for product management and are serious about products. In fact, they are product-led organizations. And for some of you, you might be aware that Satya Nadella, the current CEO of Microsoft, used to be the product manager, maybe the executive vice president in charge of Microsoft's cloud offerings. And today is the CEO of Microsoft. The same goes for most of the CEOs in Silicon Valley. So, having said that, we are now seeing an emergence of formal qualifications that can open the doors to product management for whoever is interested. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the International Institute of Business Analysis, IIBA. I sit on the board, on the non-executive board of the IIBA in South Africa. It's an international organization based out of Canada. They recently introduced the Certified Product Ownership Analysis portfolio of certifications. And the first one is CPOA. I wrote the exam, it was introduced in May. I wrote it in July, and I'm one of the first 200 people to have passed that certification. So that's one entry into becoming a product manager, but it's a long way still. A second credential is the Product School's Product Manager Certificate. So Product School is based out of Silicon Valley. It was started, I think, in 2011 or 2012 in recognition of the need for formal training for product managers. So there's no university today that offers product management training anywhere in the world. As of an hour ago, there is none anywhere in the world. But Product School is filling that gap. And there are quite a number of other institutions like the Product School that are offering trainings and certifications for product managers. But Product School is based in the heart of Silicon Valley, and is perhaps the most popular with Silicon Valley people. And because Silicon Valley has a lot of influence on the African startup ecosystem, you find that having this credential is also quite respected amongst African startups. Having said that, Udacity also has a course on product management, and you can also check them out. So in terms of cost and time, the CPOA is quite expensive. From start to finish, will cost you about $500. That would include the cost of the exam and the cost of a preparatory course to sit for the exam. I self-studied, and I wouldn't recommend that for people who haven't done any work in product management before now, but because I've had a ton of experience being a business analyst, working in product teams and all that, it was easier for me, or easy for me, to self-study. So my recommendation is that rather than self-study, spend the money in buying a course online out there, and follow the course from beginning to the end, and then write the exams. The IABA has a course that you could take that supports that you could take towards becoming a certified product ownership analyst. For the product school, I'm also completing a course at the product school. The product school is a bit expensive. Their cheapest cost is $1,000, and that is when they've actually applied a ton of discounts and all that. Otherwise, their courses start at about $3,000, and they have 3 certifications, 3 certification levels. If you can get your employers to send you for this, then it's better. Otherwise, it could turn out to be so expensive. And the one I'm taking now, which is the entry-level certification with product school, will take about 10 weeks to complete from start to finish. I can finish it faster if I have enough time, if I allocate enough time to it and all that. But if you don't, you might end up requiring or requesting for extensions. So there's a caveat here that you have either of this certification or you've taken a course on product management doesn't mean much if your organization does not have a product management function, or if you are not senior enough in that organization to influence the organization to begin to think about creating product management functions. So it's super important that if you choose to go the product manager route or path, that you find organizations that would support you or that are in demand, that are demanding that skill. You find those organizations and you keep them on your radar, you acquire the skills and you begin to apply to them, and who knows, the stars might align in your favor and you get a job there. Alternatively, if your organization does not do product management and you are senior enough, or you have a mentor within the organization that is senior enough to influence the organization, you might start to lead from behind and let them and start showing them the benefits of leading with product, or of becoming a product-led organization. So the second suggestion I just made now, I make it with a sense of modesty, as well as with the confidence that it is practical and it can work. I used to work in an organization where agility was strange, and I was able, without changing jobs, it was thankless, right? Without changing jobs and all that, I was able to influence the organization to transit from one that uses legacy product delivery methods into one that leverages agile. Now, again, I said it was thankless because people thought, yeah, you're doing your job and all of that, which is good. But in doing so, I became a lot more confident in my facilitation skills, in my negotiating skills and all that. And that helped me in my future jobs, the jobs I've done since that time. So it's super important that if you are convicted about anything at all that you know can bring value to the organization, you identify key stakeholders in the organization and you sing the beautiful song of the change you want to see in their ears. And at every opportunity where you can actually show them examples in your work, in your day job, of how to deliver efficiency using your conviction, then you do it. There's a chance you will not get promotion or promoted as a result, but your own confidence in your conviction increases, and the things you can do with your conviction also increases. And that could also create a pathway for you going forward. Now, there are informal parts to becoming a product manager. This requires a lot of heavy lifting. If you're already working, get close to the product teams in your business. If your business is a product-led organization, if possible, get a product management mentor in the organization or outside of it. I'm happy to provide guidance on that. Volunteer to help the product team with small tasks. That allows you get close to the product team, and you become an unofficial member of that team, and you begin to improve your own knowledge and skills around product management, and you also you also begin to create visibility around your interest and your skill set as a budding product manager. And if possible, build products on the side. And in building products on the side, make sure that you are not competing with your product managers, with your organization. So an example is, I run an online school on the side, and it focuses on helping people like yourselves acquire skills where myself and my friends are proficient in. The platform we use and all that, I serve as a product manager for that. That also further allowed me to develop experience around product management. But it would be a crime, conflict of interest at a minimum, if I build a fintech business on the side, because now I'll be using privileged information about the product my company is building, my employers are building. I'll be using that in building my side gig, and that is conflict of interest at the minimum, and it could be criminal depending on the market or the region you are in. So in building, I encourage side projects and side gigs, but it should be such that you are not competing with your employers, one, and you are not spending your employer's time and resources on your side gig. So your side gigs must be clearly in the evenings and on the weekends on your own time. And eventually, as you continue to do 1 to 5, opportunities will arise, either within the current business you are working for, or one outside of it where you can transit into a product management role. And when that arises, please seize such an opportunity with both hands. And with that, I will begin to take questions. Thank you. Iniobong, over to you. I would let you manage the question and answer session.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Asuni, for this session. It was very, very insightful. It was very insightful because I think a lot of people had an issue understanding who a product manager or what the roles of products or what product management was and how to transit into it. But you really explained this. So let me read the chat and see if we have some questions that we'd love you to answer. So thank you very much for this. Thank you again. I have a few questions. This is from Sunday, I reckon. So I think you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Only if you have a question to ask, please unmute yourself and ask the question. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sunday.
Okay, good morning, Sunday.
Okay, so I currently I am on a scholarship with Access Bank. Okay. On product management. So I think I've passed through the first phase and I've gotten a little bit about what product management is about. So talking about realistically, currently I just finished my first degree. So I want to go into product management. So what are the realistic, the real life steps I should take from where I am? Okay, I'm from Nigeria, Lagos. I'm talking from Lagos. So what are those steps I should make? Like, should I, what are the friends I should volunteer with what I have now? Or like, what are the realistic steps you think I should take to go the path with product management in Nigeria, right. In Lagos, right. Specifically?
All right. I think, to be honest with you, I think I've answered that question in this slide. But I will deep dive into your situation or your circumstances. So with Access Bank, Are you employed? Or
No,
did they-
no, no, it's a scholarship program by Access Bank. They gave to people, so I was one of the
So-
recipients.
So are you being trained somewhere to become a product manager?
Yeah, I am being trained in courtesy in Uda City, but Access Bank did the funding for the scholarship.
Okay, so do you know why Access Bank is paying for your scholarship? Is it because they are creating a product unit, or they are trying to hire managers for the product unit? Do you know why they've created that scholarship?
I think they want to increase the participation of people into tech.
Okay, so two things I would recommend. The first is that you begin to research Access Bank and see what their true motivation is. And as soon as you understand, if it's that they are trying to create an army of product managers, do your best to kill the university course, come out on the top, or as close to the top as possible, and position yourself or make yourself attractive to joining Access Bank. Alternatively, you need to begin to look at startups in Nigeria. I follow them a lot, and they are raising a lot of money these days. And when you raise money, you are going to improve your products. And that's the primary reason why people raise money. Startups raise money to improve the product. And in improving the product, there are three core sets of people that will be hired. Engineers, sometimes called developers, designers, and product managers. So you need to immerse yourself within circles of startup people, so startup owners, startup staff, and all that. Become friends with them, and let them know that you are available. You are taking this course on Udacity, and let them know that you are available. The last answer I would give you is that on your own, see what product you can build. So look at your capstone project on Udacity and do it so well that you can showcase it as a product you have built. Some people look at those capstone projects as just another project they have to do. You should do it in a way that it can become a calling card. It can become something you can add to your portfolio and say, look, guys, this is what I have done. So those are the three guardians or suggestions I have for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
Can
you, sir.
I
appreciate it, sir.
I think I have an answer too. I have a contribution to make. And
Please go ahead.
yeah, it's really about the capstone project. Because anybody that is going to employ you is going to look out for your portfolio. Yeah, the portfolio really matters. So take your capstone project very, very serious. And just like Mr. Suni said, there are lots of startups springing up, especially in Nigeria. So they're looking for product managers, maybe as a junior, associate product manager. If you have an impressive portfolio, you stand a chance of being employed. And you need to make yourself very visible. Please, can you mute yourself? Please, can you mute yourself? I don't know where the noise is coming from. Thank you. And you really need to have a very impressive, you need to be visible. And when I say visible, get on places like LinkedIn, on Facebook, join communities of program managers, tech communities, write about what you've discovered. Look for, okay, maybe an Access Bank, maybe it can be about the ATM, their product, maybe their app. Write about, okay, an issue that you've discovered and how you think that can be fixed. So, okay, maybe you can interview some of their users and, okay, so what are the challenges that you guys are facing? How do you think this can be fixed? So that's how you make yourself more visible, and you write about those things. Write it on Medium, Substack, share tips on Facebook, on Twitter, go on LinkedIn, be active, be visible so that you'll be noticed. You really need to be seen. You need to be visible. So you need to write a lot, work on capstone projects. I hope that's helpful.
Thanks for that contribution, Iniobong. I cannot I cannot top that. I think you have it covered. You have it covered. And maybe the other thing I'm just going to add is that you can, when applying for jobs as well, you can apply in a way that you are seen and you are visible. So there was a lady who went viral, I think 3 or 4 years ago. She applied for a job at Airbnb. I'll look for the article and I'll send it to Amy for onward circulation to you guys. She didn't apply for a job. What she did was to look at the problems of Airbnb and how she would solve them if she was in a particular role in Airbnb. So what she demonstrated, I mean, the CEO of Airbnb saw it and they asked her to come in for an interview. I think she didn't take the job eventually, but that threw her into the limelight. What she had done was to show a clear understanding of the problem and to articulate paths to addressing the problem. So such a person, so most employers don't want to hire people that will become liabilities when they join them. Such a person has proven from outside that they are invested in that business. They know their customer pain points, they know the business's problems, and they are already thinking of solutions. Their solutions might not be novel enough, right? But they are already thinking of solutions that could better address those problems. So that ties back into Ini's suggestion that look at Access Bank's ATM, look at a problem or a challenge or an opportunity for improvement and document it. And then publish it on LinkedIn and all that. Worst case scenario, nobody sees it. You haven't lost anything. And best case scenario, somebody sees it and says, okay, maybe we should solve this problem. And then they tell you thank you. Or further down the line, they might even invite you for an interview or a conversation, and that begins to improve your visibility. So those are some of the additional inputs I have on that subject.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have another question here by Sheil. Sheil is,
okay.
She said, I'm in the educational sector, but I love project management.
Okay.
This is product management and not project management. Okay, so how can I combine these? What are the very first steps to move into product management?
Look, I think the same answers as we've given Sunday now would apply to you as well.
Yeah.
And more importantly, people often think that for them to show that they can do product management, or in your case, project management, that they need to get a project manager's job or a product manager's job. You can begin to show things in your current position or your current job. If it's project management, you can begin to leverage your project management skills in your current job. Begin to write project scope documents. Begin to execute your daily tasks as if they are part of a project. And when there's an opportunity, a real opportunity to run a project, maybe the school you are working in wants to build a new toilet or a new block of classrooms or a computer lab and all that, volunteer to be the associate project manager. You know, interact with the vendors or the suppliers, ensure that the scope agreed to is adhered to. The suppliers don't break the rules or anything. And just start showing all of those. Two things will happen. Your employers will see that, okay, maybe we're actually a full-time project manager in this school, or if as the case may be, product manager in this school, and you would easily fill that position because they've seen you do it. Alternatively, or in parallel, we learn, our knowledge increases as we do. So you're deepening your knowledge as you do. So by volunteering that way, you are also deepening your understanding and your knowledge of the subject matter, and to come back to serve you better. So yeah, so start from where you are, look for opportunities where you are. The opportunities, most of the time, opportunities doesn't come in an envelope labeled opportunity. Majority of the time, it comes in an envelope labeled additional work or stress. So you need to see past the challenges or the barriers to seeing how it can help you meet your personal goals and objectives, whilst still helping you keep your promises to your employers, and you see such an opportunity. Excuse me. So that's my answer to that question.
Okay, thank you very much.
I run the VLN HQ. The VLN HQ has courses, one of which is product management. We offer design thinking training. We offer business analysis training as well. And we also help train project managers. Our product management program would start in a month's time. And when it starts, I will let you know so you can let the audience know as well.
Okay, no problem. So I'm going to do that. I have your email, so I'm going to send a message once it an email to everyone once it comes through. So
All right.
and I have a link to, I know I've seen some amazing reviews. Yeah, thank you guys for being a part of this session.